Thank you very much. Thank you. And hello.
Hello and good morning, everybody. It's Matthew Street, and welcome to my channel. I truly appreciate you being here. And folks, have you ever had a thought about something where you are feeling about something, or you had an opinion about something, and you've felt that way for the better part of like 30 plus years? You've held this opinion, or you've had this feeling about something. You never thought about it any differently other than the way you always thought about it. But then you hear someone else's thoughts or opinion about it, and it may differ a little bit from yours. Perhaps it's not exactly the way you think about it. And it makes you think when you hear their opinion. You go, well, gee, I never thought of it that way, but you're making sense. I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally understand why you would feel that way. It makes sense, right? You respect their opinion. You listen to their opinion, and although it may not change at all or even a little bit your opinion, you at least listen to theirs and you respect it. And you say, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. However, I don't feel that way. I've always felt this way, and I still do. Well, that's happened to me recently, folks. There's been a little scuttlebutt in the world of the Beatles, if you haven't heard yet. The scuttlebutt is, and when I say scuttlebutt, it's nothing bad. I'm just, there's been some differing thought processes out there about something. Paul McCartney, yes, that Paul, is out on tour again with the most recent leg of his Gut Back tour. Not coming up here to the Northeast United States, sadly. I'm hoping eventually there'll be a leg that does so I can go see him, but we'll see how that goes. I'd like to see him again one more time. Well, the scuttlebutt is that should Paul be opening his shows with it's a Lennon and McCartney song, but it's known to be a John Lennon song, Help. Should Paul be opening with Help on his current leg of the Gut Back tour, which he has been? And it's been to a lot of positive reaction that he's opening with Help. Now, one camp is basically saying, hey, yeah, great that he's opening with Help, but is he just doing this because he's got an insecurity? He's just trying to reclaim certain Beatles songs to bolster his own legacy, to say, hey, you get all excited that this was a John song, but don't forget I was part of this. I'm important too, Is that why he's doing it? Or is he just doing it? Is he just adding songs like Help to his set list because he's just adding something new, something fun, something interesting, just a new, fresh Beatles song that has never been played live in this manner to his set to have some fun and bolster the set a little bit? Now, personally, myself, I'm going to be honest with total disclosure on my opinion of it. Personally, my take has always been that I've been always happy when he did certain songs that were kind of tied to John Lennon, certain Beatles songs. For example, way back, he came out when he was coming out with the Tripping the Live Fantastic album from 1990, which celebrated that initial Paul McCartney world tour from 89 and 90, which he hadn't toured in like 14 years or something. Well, on only a minuscule, I don't even know if it was more than one or two shows, you correct me, he did a medley of Help, Strawberry Fields Forever, and Give Peace a Chance live. And he did it in tribute to John Lennon. And I was over the moon about this, folks. I loved it. The version of Help was very slow, very emotional, very touching, as it were. Not the original fast version of Help, the slower version. And I loved it. It was so great that it came out only on an EP at the time. You could get this medley, and I sought it out, and I paid, back in the day, 1990, whatever it was, I didn't care. I paid what I had to get it. It was an import, and I got that EP because I love that version of him doing Help and the other two Lennon songs. And I have to admit, over the years, seeing Paul live since 1990, I can't even think, it's close to 15 times I've seen him live. When he's done 8 days a week, which I know it's a John and Paul song, 8 days a week, but when Paul opened with 8 days a week a few tours ago, I was over the moon about it because I always thought of that as kind of a John led song, even though Paul was a big part of it. But I don't know why, I've just always felt 8 Days a Week as being kind of a Johnish song. So when he opened with 8 Days a Week, or when he's played Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, and I've seen that, I was excited. Or remember he did A Day in the Life. I don't know how many tours ago that was. And now he's doing Help. And I've just always felt when he's done them, this was just my brain working, was like, wow, he's playing a Beatles song live, a unique nugget, originally or more associated with John, and I'm getting to hear it live by one of the Beatles, Paul McCartney. That was always my take on it. And I have to admit, even this most recent thing with Help, when I first saw that he was doing Help, well, obviously my first thought is the elephant in the room is I hope he can sing it okay. I mean, let's be honest. We think about that with Paul and his vocals being able to handle some of these songs. But that aside, I was excited to hear that he did Help to open the shows. Like, well, at least he's doing something different. At least he's adding something new and fresh to the set list. And it being Help, a song we've never, and he's doing the fast Beatles version of Help. I was excited because I was like, oh my God, we'll never hear John do something like this, unfortunately. I mean, oh my God, let's not even go there, but all the John songs we could have heard live. We would have heard live, I truly believe, if what happened in December 80 didn't happen. But again, I keep going back to let's not go there. But when I heard Paul do it, I was like, well, yeah. I'm tired of kind of some stale set lists with Paul over the years, let's be honest, on some of these tours. They get a little stale, and once in a while he'll add a nugget here and there, and he'll mix it up, and I was happy to hear him mix it up with Help, something new, something different. But that's my take on it, as I'm excited to hear Paul do a Beatles song. However, it is nice to hear other perspectives on it, because I never looked at it from the perspective of, oh, he's doing it just to claim it, to reclaim it, to bolster his legacy. He may be doing that though, and therefore I have to say it is nice to hear other people's opinions and perspectives on this, because it does open your eyes a little bit to say, what is the thought process here of Paul? What is he doing? And again, to me, it doesn't matter. I don't care. If that's his thought process, that he's doing it to reclaim it or to bolster his Beatle bucks, as it were, it's push himself up in the rankings a little bit, that's up to Paul. I mean, I would hope he's not that insecure and that unsure of himself, that, his self-esteem is that lacking at this point in his life at 83 years old, that he feels he has to bolster his ego a little bit and his legacy or whatever. I would hope that's not it. But it is, like I said, it is interesting to hear other people's thoughts about it. What's their thought process on it? And so I never really considered it, but it is possible that Paul is doing that. And as I said, I would hope not. But regardless, don't assume 100% that everything is pure and clean with Paul here. I mean, as Paul McCartney fans, Beatles fans, we have to at least be somewhat open to ideas that he could be doing that. Although we may not care, we may just be happy, well, he's playing Beatles songs. If that's his thing, if he's doing it to make himself feel better, go for it, Paul. If it helps you float your boat, go for it. But me personally, I'm just happy to hear new and fresh things from Paul. And I always say, my thing is, be respectful of other people's opinions, okay? If you're in the camp that thinks, oh, this is just for fun, it's interesting, he's playing a new Beatles song, it's great, rock on, Paul, rock out, you're a Beatle, Lennon McCartney wrote the song, hey, yeah, rah, rah, rah. That's great. I lean more towards that camp, to be honest with you. But the camp that says, is he reclaiming here? Because Paul has been quoted on one particular song as saying he was doing it to reclaim it, that shows me a little insecurity on Paul's part, and I'm willing to accept that, and I'm willing to understand when people are concerned about something like that. Personally, for me, if I get to go see Paul and he opens with Help, I'm going to enjoy it and be excited about it, but I'm also very cognizant that, Paul has his motives for doing things. I may not 100% know what they are unless I hear it from the man's voice from his mouth himself, but be respectful of others' opinions. Don't go out there, throwing your thoughts around or typing your thoughts down and being disrespectful of someone else because they have a differing opinion of you. They have the right to have that opinion, and we should be respectful of it, even if we don't agree with it. Not put them down or not, just go out there and claim with the cheerleading pom-poms, rah-rah. No, it's this way. Paul's this, Paul this. And just discredit or make fun of other people's thoughts. They have the right to have those thoughts. Anyway, I'm excited to see Paul mix up the set list a little bit. I'm glad to see Help in there, but I understand, the other side of it too, because you never know with Paul. He's Mr. Smiley and cheery and happy, but he does have his personal motives. I'm sure he has an ego like everybody else. He can be sensitive about his ego and his legacy like anybody else. So, don't be surprised if there's a little bit of that to Paul playing some of these songs, but I enjoy hearing Paul mix up the set and have a little fun. That's it, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
I got blisters on my fingers!